For the duration of the evening meeting and in accordance with standing orders, para 3, I and as chairman I waive the requirements to stand when speaking, unless of course you wish to do so. We can all play whack-a-mole if you wish to. Moving straight into the agenda, apologies and reasons for absence.
I've received no report.
Anna did send an apology to me.
Oh, right,
Oh,
sorry,
yes,
Anna's
Anna
just
did.
come in and apologised that she can't make it.
And nothing from
Sylvia, nothing I've got, so nothing from Sylvia.
Okay, and we're keeping an eye on the total length of time for Sylvia, aren't we?
Yes, we've still got time before
Yeah,
6 months.
Okay, thank you. Declarations of members' interest and applications for dispensation.
We have to do approval.
Yeah,
And we have to do a proposal. as well.
Yes, of course, thank you so much.
thank you. Second.
Can we,
Proposer, second.
sorry, Chairman, can we split it? Because if someone hasn't sent an apology, I don't think that I should be approving that councillor's absence, because we did that last month. There was no apology and it went in bundled. If they don't send an apology, then...
Okay, this becomes an awkward situation because obviously we're not putting in the minutes the reason why Sylvia...
No, we can't do that,
No.
but...
However, if we do not accept the reason for her being absent, that invokes a different rule. So you have to decide whether you accept that she's got an acceptable reason for not being here or not. That's the reason you vote for her.
But she hasn't apologised and given that reason
Okay, let's
two
let's do that.
months in a
That's
row.
Yeah, okay.
So, if I could have a vote,
On our-
proposer and seconder for AD, Anna Duthwaite,
Yeah.
please. All those in favour? That's unanimous. And again, separately for Sylvia Pryor. Proposer is, let's go with, and seconder would be Chris Nicks.
One of the
And all those in favour? One
One against.
against.
Do
Okay.
you want that recorded?
No, it doesn't matter.
Abstaining.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. So that's one abstention, one against. Do you want that recorded or not?
No.
Okay.
I just think it was important to
Carried.
the fact that there's no apology.
That was carried for one abstention, one. That's it.
Yeah.
One against. Thank you, everybody. Moving on, declaration of members' interest and applications for dispensation. Do I have any declarations of interest?
No.
No, none received. Thank you. Deputations from members of the public? There. None, thank you. Minutes to confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of January. Chris, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, could I just say, obviously, the council member corrected 2 errors already, one being on the general reserves and the other being the spelling of the councillor's name. Those have both been corrected according to, and it's been, the chair has overseen the corrections and says they're okay.
Plan to be approved, no comment, thank you.
So, obviously, oh sorry, and the other thing was just...
Okay, does anybody want to speak to this? Councillor Brooks.
Yes, I've got this just now in front of me, but the minute is still missing part of it, because in the meeting I proposed that we removed all the items which said unplanned, blah, 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 and became one general reserve. Now that amendment is not being minuted. It was with the first part. So that was important because we didn't want the earmark reserves. But the problem is we've now been given a new budget, which, yes, it's got the heading general reserves, but no indication of why that's been changed in any of the minutes.
We are going to add that.
But we're still showing things like unplanned legal expenses in there. That was the purpose of the amendment, that we just had a pot of general reserves. And that was what
the Finance
vote
Committee,
was.
well, okay, we'll make a note of your comments, but it will stand as it is. Okay?
I can't see how it is, because there's nowhere in the minutes that actually said we could change it to that as we've been presented now.
It's up to the... I'm just saying as a town clerk.
No, I won't go on.
Obviously, I wasn't there, Mark.
No, I know you weren't.
So what I can say is, when you get a dispute like this, it's up to the council to decide which version they accept. So obviously, it's the Councillor Ainsley, the chair, has proposed that it stays corrected as is anybody going to second that motion that that's what happened in the meeting? So in other words, what you've got in front of you, and I think you've all got a copy of it, is what was accepted at the meeting.
I'd just like to add, before we do come to the vote, I'd just like to say that we should add the minute to the minutes that actually Councillor Brooks did propose that it change from earmarked to general, and that it should be a general pot with other distinctions between them. Is that what you proposed?
Yeah, but I can't remember who seconded me because I can't remember everything off the top of my
No,
head.
not us, me too.
But that's important to know who seconded it, and I believe it was a unanimous.
I'm just thinking, I actually did change it on the paper, but I didn't realise I had to actually minute that whole piece. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I changed it on the paperwork.
Yes, we need to go back and determine, unless anybody wants to go ahead.
Now I poke my head above the parapet for a moment. So in my understanding, it's been now changed to general reserves.
Correct.
Yeah.
Within that general reserves pot, we have sub-pots,
Sub-pots,
that
whatever you want to call
for
them.
which we have made intelligent decisions to
Yeah.
ring fence certain amounts
Yeah.
based on likelihood. So, would you agree with that?
Not really. I think it's just had a header bar removed and shoved up. So I don't think there was much. Sorry if I offend anyone, but I don't think there was much thought in it. And Paul had got what was said. Just sorry, we were supposed to call
Did
you
you have a
Councillor
recording?
Ainsley. We do have a recording on YouTube, but the thing was that we didn't want it to look like we were just putting money in for unplanned things, and I accepted that the reserves were at the right level
Okay.
once that was done. So we have got part of the way where part of the problem was having earmarked unplanned
Could I ask
reserves.
Councillor Brooks, do you accept that the reason you have general reserve is for unplanned items?
Can I just say, I don't think this debate is
No, that's
here and now, and I think
No, but
what needs to happen is that we need to actually vote on what's presented,
Yep.
and if it falls, then the minutes will have to be amended further.
So you're saying that this is correct?
With the exception that we want to add in that Councillor Brooks did pass a motion that he wanted the...
And we have to leave blank who seconded it until we find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have to listen to the thing
So
and
we
help Kathy.
enter another sentence that says Councillor Brooks says that the general reserves...
That the earmark reserves should be called general reserves.
I
And-
did
Oh,
put
right.
down, didn't I?
yeah. Okay, so if we could, with that amendment,
Yeah,
and with the fact that we will determine post-event the seconder of that day, can we have a show of hands, a proposer and seconder to accept
the minutes as they
for
are,
the minutes as they are?
with that correction.
Are you
Okay, with that-
proposing, Chris?
Yeah.
And I'll second if I can. Good. And could I have a vote, please?
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining because you went here. I'm proposing. So it's been proposed, so have a vote on the general motion, please, with the amendment. So, show of hands 3.
I will vote for the amendment, but I'm not happy until I see it, really.
It will be basically saying that you propose that the general
Okay.
earmark reserves goes to general reserves, and that was accepted by the council meeting.
So the only person I didn't see was Councillor Wadsworth.
I'm just abstaining because I abstained from it all before.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3,
It's
4 against, 4,
I'm for.
For trouble.
Yeah.
and 1 abstention. Thank you.
Two
abstentions.
2 abstentions. Oh, I'm sorry, Hannah, thank you. Good. Let's move on to the next item then. Councillors' reports and questions.
There were no
Shall I,
questions.
any councillors' reports? No?
I sent some questions.
Yes, you did.
Off you go then. It's you submit them, you have to ask them now.
I can do if that's what you want me to do. But
Or
the reason for sending the email earlier was so we didn't have to have this. Right, can I have a list and the costs of medium risk repairs that we spent £3,500 on?
So these,
Do you want me
when
to-
did you send them?
Today.
Do you know?
Right, for obvious reasons, they can't be in the paperwork, so that's fine.
So we'll get those to you, Councillor Wadsworth.
Okay,
I'm sorry. And next question.
it's not.
No, let me try and answer that.
No, don't bother, it's not, you know, we do things, that's the way it is. We put them as a whole heading and we don't know what we've actually spent the money on.
I thought we did.
Yeah, but you do, but that's why I wanted to know, that's why I asked for a breakdown of the £3,000 we spent on medium repairs. That's all it says on the breakdowns. I don't want it now because we're wasting time now, that's why I wanted it earlier.
You certainly posed a question, and we'll get back to you.
Okay, it was also, could I ask what the £1,188,000 extra for Princess Avenue was for?
It was for the wet pool.
That's,
What,
Reason-
Princess Avenue?
yes,
It was Chris and Willow.
because the reason it's broken down, I'll go through that now. The reason that Playscape got broken down into two bills, invoices, was because one was to address, and this was passed as a motion by full council, to address as a health and safety risk all the medium risk items that were presented by the ROSPA report in November. And we did that, and we were going to do it all as one item, but obviously Playscape, who gave us the invoices, couldn't do it all at once because of the weather. So they presented a bill for all the yellow items on the ROSPA report, and they've all been addressed. And then the two that they couldn't do, which was in Princess Avenue for a wet bore, they did, and that's the 1,500. And I could go through each item that's been addressed, like the removal, as
Okay,
Councillor
well,
Brooks.
okay, we're not going to do that now, so.
Okay, right.
And the question was who and what was the training for £50? Who's been on the training course?
The training was for a councillor, and that was just for basic training with LRAC.
I thought they were £25.
No, it's £50, no.
Right. And how much are we having to pay to draw up the contract between RCC and OTC for the UK SPF funds?
How much?
The contract's already been drawn up.
It's been drawn up.
And
by
how much does it
RCC.
cost us?
Nothing.
That's all. That was the simple answer that I needed.
Great.
Okay. Does that answer your questions, Councillor Wadsworth?
No, because I still don't know what we pay. You're saying that I do know, so let's just leave it at that.
Not at all. We'll get that information to you. Thank you.
I wouldn't ask if I knew.
No, we'll get that information to you. Are there any other... Now, I know Councillor Brooks has got a series of questions to ask during the budget. Do you want to raise it at that point rather than separately?
Yeah, I think part of some of my 15 questions on the finances, which we were asked to send in these questions so we weren't airing our dirty laundry in public. And then I gave my questions days ago.
You hear?
And
Well,
I don't get a response. So it's very frustrating, and I can understand that councillor's frustration.
Councillor Brooks, look, obviously you've sent in many items
Yeah, in one email.
in one email.
And I had somebody independent look at it, and they said it's very fair
And
scrutiny.
the reason, rather than taking councillor questions, will you accept once we go to the next?
Oh no, it's not councillors' questions. That was your
That's a
in
question.
response to you sending the agenda. If you have any general questions, and I did it expecting that I might get at least the answers on the finance, because there's things paid that I don't know. I don't know everything, but I'm going to have to ask them in the meeting, and then it looks a bit silly.
Well, I'm quite happy with that. If you're happy for that to happen, can we close off councillors' reports and questions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I haven't put what I mean is I haven't put in a formal question.
Sure. No, but you will get answers to your questions during the course of the debate and 9-1.
Yeah, the Playscape one was sort of answered.
Okay, so I'm happy to close that, we'll move on. Co-option proposal, we've been asked to consider a new application from Eve Tempest. Eve Tempest can't make it this evening until 7:30, she has prior engagements. Do we wish to wait until her arrival, or are we happy, based on the report that the application form that we received and those that know her, to actually take a vote now?
Yeah,
So can I have a
check that out,
proposer,
let's see.
please? Are you proposing, Councillor
I'll
Wilson?
propose to take it
While
in,
we're on the subject, can I just raise, because it is co-option thing, why wasn't it advertised? Because this lady only knew about it because of you joked about it, does anyone read my things? She only
It's
applied
advertised.
because I saw it. It
It's
wasn't.
advertised outside the library.
Yeah, it's been advertised.
Well, yeah, on the library. No,
It's
we sat here and said
It's
suspend
in-
money for the Rutland Times,
Yeah, it's going in the
the
Rutland
Nub
Times.
News.
It's going in the Rutland Times. It's not in the Rutland Times yet.
It's
though.
going in.
It's
No.
going
Can
to
I, sorry, you finished, I'm sorry.
So yeah, so all I was saying is that it just seemed disappointing that it's over a month since we agreed that it would be advertised, and we do need to get more people round the table.
Okay, well, the question is, are we happy for you to proceed with, I need a seconder for the vote.
I will second. Yeah, I will second
Thank
it
you
now.
very
I
much
just
indeed.
made my comment.
So that's
about them.
proposed by Councillor Wadsworth, seconded by Councillor Brooks, and all those in favour, please raise your hand, thank you. That's unanimous. So Eve Tempest,
I will give.
otherwise known as Evie, will be elected, co-opted onto the council.
Just,
For Barleythorpe
The Barley
Board.
Pardon?
Was it for Barleythorpe?
Yes.
Yes, it was, yes.
Yes,
Yes, that's what
Yes.
that was her request, so
Yeah, I know. I just thought it would be good to put that in the minutes.
it will be. Thank you. Happy to move on. Moving on then, chairman's and clerk's reports. Shall I do mine first?
Yes.
My usual. On Friday the 24th, and as town council, I did meet with Grace Kennington, regional editor for the Oakham Nub News, over a coffee, and that's when we discussed. You may have seen the article that appeared in Nub News about my opinion as a councillor, not town councillor, not chairman, of the Rutland debate that's going on at the moment, whether we proceed. And that's what was discussed at that meeting. Friday the 31st of January, we met with Tom Tyler, the chair of Victoria Hall, and that's going to be discussed in agenda item 15. On Monday the 3rd of February, met with Rutland web designer. The attendees were town clerk Hayley Hugo, Sally Ann, Councillor Wadsworth, were you there then? No, that's right. So we're going to progress retailers' website, see agenda item 13. On Monday the 10th of February, met with David Edwards of Placeworks, that's Placemake, regarding the town centre place shaping. And on that case, it was Chris Evans, Sally Ann, and Christopher Clark. And thank you all for your contributions. Do you want to say anything about that meeting?
I thought both meetings were very productive. It was interesting catching up with the wider picture from Rutland County Council in the afternoon. And I thought very interesting and informative conversation in the morning.
Thank you, yes, so did I. Councillor Wadsworth, anything you want to add to that?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. On Tuesday, 11th of Jan, informal discussion with prospective councillor Eve Tempest. So we brought her in the office on the Tuesday. We did invite other councillors, but none were available at the time. So the town clerk and myself did have a very general discussion with her to make sure that she wasn't a person of ill repute, which clearly she's not. A wonderful person. So immediate future activities. Next Wednesday, ESW, the virtual meeting with Placemaker again, Placemaker, that's David Edwards, regarding the town centre place shaping. So if you can make it, those members of the ESWG, that'd be wonderful. Well, I don't need to discuss that any further. So that's the end of my brief. Thank you.
Okay.
Town clerk, yes.
On to me. Right, obviously, this is a busy period for all kinds of reasons, mainly because, of course, you're all aware that out of the blue, suddenly we realise we've got a contract or an agreement with Rutland County Council. I only got it, it's on the agenda, but that grant agreement only arrived within 2 or 3 weeks of today. And the idea behind that we'll discuss later. Obviously, Councillor Sally Ann Wadsworth has concerns and has highlighted the railway bridge over near the train station, or should I call it a railway station. And the handyman has addressed that as much as he can, given the conditions at the moment. The moss is all gone. He's trying desperately hard to get rid of it because it's dangerous. We will also inform Network Rail, but as always, I suspect the response will be somewhat tardier than we can do. We're obviously, I'll leave it from there because we've got such a big agenda. I will continue to keep you informed of the things that are going, but I think it's quite important we move on so we can try and get through the agenda now.
Okay, thank you very much. And have we got any questions about what's been said so far? Okay, then we're happy to move on then. So item 8, correspondence received. Nothing?
No.
And then we get onto the one, bank statements for the budget. Now, I'm minded to do this all as one, but I suspect that it's probably better to break it up into bits, because I know that Councillor Brooks has got quite a series of questions. So, or you can discuss the whole thing.
Do you want me, Councillor Brooks? It's up to you. I've got your list of questions here, and I'm sure the councillors would like just a brief synopsis of the answers to the questions you've got.
Well,
Yeah, but he's got the questions, I've got the answers.
okay, well, I'm happy to just
I'll go through the answers.
read off one at a time,
okay.
and then you can obviously just.
It's just the answers.
Well, no, because I want to know it makes sense to me if I ask it and get the answer,
Let's do that.
Sorry, I
so
don't
if
mean
you,
to
so if you speak,
and then I don't miss
Councillor Brooks, then we
anything.
get the response, and then we get
Okay.
back to you.
It was just out of curiosity. On the 13th of December last year, Glendale Countryside, which I believe might be our ground maintenance people, were paid the sum of £2,485.76p, and then the money was returned to the account on the same day, but they were paid the same amount again on the 13th of January 2025. So I was asking, why did that happen, and possibly is it correct?
I think I might have explained this in a previous year. We use a Realtus accounting system. Accounting systems are, for obvious reasons, very unforgiving. If you put in a mistaken date, you cannot, it's not like Excel spreadsheet, which it was, but it's not. You can't just blanket go delete, delete, delete. What you have to do if you make a mistake, and I made a mistake of putting the 13th of December, when it should have been the 13th of January. So as a result, it put that in, so I corrected it, and if you go down to the 13th of January, you will see there Glendale Countryside.
Yeah, that's what I pointed out.
So all that does, the positive and negative, is just a correction for the accounting system. It's so that everybody can see, lovely for me, when you make a mistake.
Okay, that was all good, but that's why I didn't really want to bring it into the
No, that's
public
fine.
domain, because I
That's
don't understand the system,
Well, it's useful for
and it's not good for you to
I
have
think
to
it's
say
everybody
you
to
made a
know, so
mistake.
let's continue.
Okay.
Move on.
And then obviously you've already mentioned the playscape. That was for the 8th of January, the £1,188 and the 3,526. And I asked, was it a split invoice? And I think you sort of said it was due to them doing work on different days that they sent two invoices. Yeah, so there's no answer really to that. You've already given that. The other one was because the reason I asked this is because I'm told that we have to pay in the region of £100 to set up an email account to them. So I asked, why was Millennium Computers paid £238 on the 8th of January? On the 15th of January, £582.48, and on the 29th of January, £74.94. They seem to have they've had a lot of money off of us.
Okay, right, the 238, and this was approved also with correspondence with the chair, was for the fact that we've now got Adobe Acrobat Writer and Reader, which enables us in the fullness of time to redact bank statements and any other documents. So it allows us to edit PDFs, and it costs 238. The 500 per annum, sorry, yes. And the 582, scrolled over a bit, was just because over Christmas 2 bills for the contract with Millennium that all councillors voted for, so it's basically 240 a month, was just built up over the Christmas holidays, so we paid for 2 months there.
Okay.
And the £74 is, we have Millennium have a situation where they basically, the broadband is paid separately, the telephone and broadband is paid separately to our IT support and licenses.
Okay.
So that's the reason for that. So that's all covered by our contract that the council agreed.
Okay.
S4 facilities.
Oh, that's the next one. Yeah. Who are
Toilets. Anna.
£1,588.62 paid to SF Facilities
That's per
Management?
month. We have a 3-year contract with them.
Oh, is that the cleaners?
That's the cleaning
Okay.
toilets contract.
Well, I won't ask that again because I do remember things once I know. So,
Yep, okay.
and then we had somebody called Office Friends. I know it's only a very small amount. That's what it
Kathy
made me
will tell you
alarm
that.
bells. £6.76.
They just supplies office supplies, it was felt tips and my calendar
Okay.
was on the wall.
No problem.
Bargain.
Well, it's better than the marker pens for redacting. And then I have a feeling that this might have been something to do with computers again, but it says why Welland Marketing paid on the 8th of January £858.
That's the annual support and licence for Oakham Town Council's website.
Gosh.
So they do
Okay.
it. People we employ,
Per annum.
Sorry, when does
Correct.
that contract run out off the top of your head?
we can, any year, there's no contract, we just annually renew it.
Thank you.
Maybe we should be reviewing it if we're going to be having a new website.
In the fullness of time.
Yes. And then the question was why were Placemake, which we've heard a lot mentioned tonight, paid £4,600 and was this authorised by the council?
I'll pass this on to the chair.
Yeah, it was authorised. This was way back in, I can't remember the exact date. but we
Before
did
my
actually-
time.
Was it?
I think it may have been.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was the final payment for the final payment to Placegate for the work they've done in support of the work that's going on up at Princess Avenue.
Community
Consultants, isn't he?
Yes.
From Hitchin,
building.
Yes.
my hometown area, Letchworth.
That's interesting, but can we carry on?
Yes, okay. And I do know, but I'll just confirm it, because somebody called W.S. Doody, I understand they're the landlords.
Bill Doody, unfortunately, has now passed away.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Oh, bless him.
As Patrick
December.
Doody is now running it, but these are quarterly rents.
okay, so I'll know in future that that's rent.
Rent, yeah.
Yeah, and then the big questions here, 13th and 23rd of January, Rutland County Council were paid £2,633 and then paid £4,044, and I can't seem to find what it's for. And we did pay previously a lot of money for street lighting things, and
13th of January was for the free Saturday car parking, so that was for 2 days,
Okay,
300 a day. That's about roughly what's it cost. So education for the council again, that's roughly what it costs to shut all the car parks, well not shut, make them free for all residents for a day.
okay.
And
We did approve that, so I'm not.
Yes, we did.
But I didn't know the figure, we just said
Yeah,
we'd
we
paid for
didn't.
free parking.
And the second one, the 23rd of January, for 4,044, that is also been approved by the council. That's to replace a list of bins throughout.
No, because we didn't approve it, we deferred it.
It was
We did,
Up to 5k, I was given a budget of up to 5k.
I
Sure,
did actually bring it in.
because that was dog poo bin day, and they've
No,
still not
it
been
was two.
reclaimed.
You're
No,
thinking,
there's two separate ones.
There was two
Oh, was it
separate
more? They want more money.
On the 13th of November.
Okay, but I wasn't here on the 13th of November.
Well, there you go then.
But yeah,
That
well,
information.
we seem to give them a lot of money.
That's because we love them.
that's
Not a lot.
once again, the council books, that's because we have an arrangement where, and I always find these words difficult, and I know the chair doesn't like to speak too much. Let's be clear, Rutland County Council own the bins, but we maintain them. So we have to maintain them when they're there.
Okay, so
Right.
let's not go into
And
too
then
much about the legality.
I have one last comment, and again, I would have preferred it being dealt with in the email. 3 times now, we've had transfers which have been in breach of our financial regulations, old or new. This one's described as
Steady.
a top-up.
How is it in breach of our
Yeah.
regulation?
If you look at regulation
Because it says the
5.5.b, you can actually see that actually the clerk has.
I can read it out to you if you want, councillor Brooks.
Is that in the old regulations?
It's in our current
But then
regulations.
which is another
no.
ridiculous
It's
situation
actually-
to be in, because it is actually unlawful for the clerk or anybody to make that transfer. That's not me making it up, that's why it's in the new. And I was told at the last meeting and the meeting before that this would not happen again.
This
And
is-
that's why I get frustrated, because I've now sat here 3 times and pointed out, and actually you sent me a message saying that you recognise that shouldn't have happened and that you wouldn't do it again, and that's why I didn't want to be in an argument here tonight. But
You have your response, Councillor
I
Brooks.
don't have any response.
The response is it's in accordance with 5.5.b.
Yes, unlawful financial regulations.
Well,
Our regulations cannot overrule
Okay.
government rules,
You're
and
right.
that's always been the issue, and that's why we had new regulations, but we have to wait for a bank account to be open. And why is that taking so long? Because the clerk is being cautious. That's
Councillor
your
Brooks, can you-
words.
Look, you made your point.
And also, why do we need, that's my last comment, why do we need over £100,000 in the current account when it's only protected to 85, and on average we spend £20,000 a month? So we're losing interest on about £80,000 a year because...
Just listen for a second.
I will, I've finished, I'm not saying any more, because it's pretty
All
pointless.
regulations, according to the external and internal law, are not illegal. Do not use that word, they are not illegal. We can have the regulations we want as long as they comply with the laws of the land.
But they don't.
They do.
They don't. That's why we agreed all the changes.
I think I think what we have to do here, I'm going to call a halt to this conversation. I think that we have
Please
to...
do, because
I'm going to have to call a halt to the
Could I
conversation.
just say, just for...
I'm going to call a halt to the
Yeah,
conversation.
could I
I'm
just-
sorry, I'm going to call a halt to
I
the
just need to
conversation.
clarify what's happened here.
I would like to call, we're calling a halt. And what we're going to do is that we are going, the explanation has been given, it hasn't been accepted by Councillor Brooks. So can we record that fact, please, that the explanation was given, but Councillor Brooks was unhappy with the explanation. And I'd like now to vote on the Realtis Bank reconciliation.
So we do one by one? Just on-
No, yes, and for the moment,
Right,
yes.
okay.
So if we could have a proposer, please, for Realtis Bank reconciliation. Councillor Clark, and a seconder is, thank you very much indeed, and have a vote on whether we accept those or not. Thank you very much indeed, and Councillor Brooks, I guess.
I'm just going to abstain because at the
Oh,
moment
okay.
I'm just a bit
Okay,
wound up, and
Yeah,
I shouldn't be, but I
okay, we're moving on then. So let's, item 92, 93, 94 and 95 was a spend transfer of the £100,000, which I think we discussed. So can I have a proposal whether we want to accept all of those as are, all of them together, or do we need to go through them line by line? Councillor Brooks, do you have some further questions that come out of the...
no.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to have a proposal that we accept the rest of those documents in total. That's 92, 93, 94 and 95. Thank you very much indeed. And
I'm just
Councillor
first.
Wadsworth. Thank you, and can I have a vote, please? So that's 4, and Councillor Brooks.
I will abstain on that whole
Thank you.
thing, please.
Thank you very much indeed. So it brings us on to the next.
Sorry, can I just...
Please.
What was that voting?
That was on acceptance of
No. What was the count?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. Yeah.
You said 4.
Did I? I'm sorry, that was a. I think, what did you
I
record?
just
Did
wanted
you?
to make sure that I was recorded correctly.
Yeah.
One abstention is already...
Great, thank you. Gosh, that was exciting, wasn't it? So let's move on to item 10, which is the UK SPF grant agreement with RCC. So I've opened up the floor. Do I have a discussion about this? I know.
So, can I just clarify then? that
Please.
This is not costing us anything at all.
That isn't true, because we will have to pay the solicitor who's looking at the agreement to see the
And
particular
is that coming out the SS, what's it?
We will do, yes, exactly.
Right.
So the actual drafting of the agreement, which I thought was your original question, was done entirely by RCC at their expense, and that they sent us the document to sign a couple of weeks ago. We've been talking to Hegarty's because we believe we need legal support to say that the document is not going to, it's something to support the document. Councillor Brooks.
I don't really understand the need, and I hope it isn't going to cost us money, because I've seen these come to council before, and it's never had advice, because we accepted that basically RCC pay Peterborough Legal Services to draw up what is basically an agreement, and generally they've been accepted. But if Clark feels he needs it and it's not going to cost us anything, then I don't object. But when people say they're going to go to a solicitor, I know what it concerns, because they're quite expensive.
Okay.
So, and the final point on this thing, I think it's important to raise it. If I've read it right, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have two headings. One is capital and one is revenue. And it appears to me that the spending of this money is basically going to be spent 30,000, and 20,000 of it is basically what I would say in plain English, administrating the grant.
You've got that totally wrong.
But what is the capital?
It's £50,000.
Yes.
We can spend £30,000 on capital expenditure. We can spend £20,000 on whatever the term was for the second bit, which is the revenue. And it's nothing to do with the cost of implementing the project. It's simply that we have an additional 28. So, for example, we're spending that on car parking.
Yes, I get that, but
So it's not administrative.
there was a mention of administering it in the thing when I read it, but I didn't expect it to be the whole amount, because I said was shocking.
There is no
if it was.
administration fee being charged.
But what I would like, which I did ask for, is basically a breakdown of what we spent, because I go to the meetings and I say, can we have the lamppost painted? And she nods and writes it down, but I don't even know how much we spent or how much is left.
Okay.
So that's what I asked, if we could have a breakdown of how much we spent and what's left, so that we're not going blind in the future.
Well, this initiative here, which we only got 2 weeks ago, but Uppingham have already signed this agreement. They got it a month ago, and they got the same amount. I won't go on and I won't say that's interesting. They got 50k too from RCC.
It's always split, isn't it, like silver money?
Anyhow, this initiative, basically what it does is transfer the 50k. What I was told initially was we were going to submit bills, invoices to Rutland, and they would pay them one by one. They've now said, stop that, we don't want you to do that. We will give you the 50k, and as long as you, at the end of March 31st or 1st of April or whatever, give us all the invoices that you've paid, we'll just tick them off, and that will be the end of it.
Yeah,
if you do not spend the 50k, we will, all of the 50k, then we will want the money, but the money that you left back.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
But it would be nice to have a breakdown
We'll give you that breakdown when we
of what's left
spent
and
it.
what we've spent it on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you don't like earmark.
You see, I don't know everything. I got confused by this capital and.
Are you proposing an amendment to the paper that says that we should go ahead without consulting a solicitor and sign?
Well, the clerk is the person who wants it. I mean,
I'm asking you whether you are proposing that amendment, yes or no.
Is he happy to sign it without the advice?
Well, if we get
because
authority
to
from
me it
council,
just
then
seems that we're wasting money from that pot.
Well, are you proposing an amendment or not?
Well, I'll give it a
The
try.
advice is Uppingham have signed it, and I spoke to their clerk.
And it is normal, because, the Peterborough
if you want to
Legal
propose the
Services are
amendment,
not
propose
going
the
to do
amendment,
it
let's have it to
wrong.
vote.
And I've read it, and it very clearly says that at a certain point they're going to give money to the town council.
Yep.
So that's, generally it looks okay.
I am happy either way. The cautious way is to get a solicitor advice. That can take a bit of a while. The less cautious, but acceptable to me, because I've read it. I accept that the document, Rutland County Council, I can say many things about them, but they're not going to do us over on this one. And my view is, therefore, we're safe in signing this.
So are you proposing that amendment? That's my second
I'll
question.
propose an amendment that we approve. I think you have to sign it and the clerk.
Yeah.
Do I have a seconder for that? Okay, and can I have a vote on that amendment, please?
Under a going to abstain on that one because I'm not sure about whether or not it's wise. to-
Okay, so what have we got here? We got,
I'm going to abstain.
so we've got 3 in support, we got 2 abstentions, and I'm going to vote against, so.
Well, that's passed.
That's, no.
No.
Is it?
No,
I
it's,
mean,
it's the chair's got
Chair's.
the vote.
It's 3,
In which
1
case,
and 2, so that's 6, so it's 3, like 1.
Three.
You don't count the
Three.
abstentions.
3 in favour, 2 against and 1 abstention.
No, 2 abstentions.
As passed.
so we're not counting abstentions, so how many do we have? 4?
No, 3.
It's
Three.
3, 4 and 2 abstentions and 1
One
against, so it's
So
passed.
It's passed.
Yeah,
That's what I was trying to do.
Carried, sorry.
Yeah,
So it's carried, and we will not be consulting solicitor. Thank you. Moving on.
hurry up and get the money.
Paper 11, which is the spring event. And this is Councillor Wadsworth's paper, so would you like to speak?
Oh.
Right, at the meeting held 21st of January with RCC and local traders, it was agreed to hold a spring event which we have been organising up until now. I'm making a proposal that we ring fence £5,000 towards paying for any gazebos that we might need to borrow, the road closure, the road management and anything else that I am allowed, because I don't think I'm allowed to do that now, so I don't.
What, the
think-
parking? The parking, we had an email saying you can do the parking.
Well, no, because I've been told if we're paying RCC it, we can't have it.
Yes, you can.
Well,
Have you changed your mind now?
No, they haven't. They have.
We've got an email that supports your payment. So in any case, the point
Right, so basically the paper is that I would like £5,000 to spend of UK SPF money towards the spring fair event, whatever. That's my proposal. Any questions?
proposal is,
Second.
No.
Councillor Wadsworth, questions with that?
Yes, I have a question because it goes on the basis of knowing what we've spent. Please don't kill me, Councillor Wadsworth. But when these things go to the government, if you just say we might be spending,
No, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is we'll get itemised. We will bill the UK SPF separate account, and that will, but should, now that we're going to take it on, and there will be an itemised invoice of each and every expenditure, so there won't be a generic spend. This is setting the budget from UK SPF for the spring fair.
but she's looking at me. I just would prefer that if we'd had a bit more of a breakdown of costs
it's
rather than that
£8,000.
nice round figure of 5,000, because
Well,
I mean,
I'm
you will,
worried
you,
about
and
that's
this,
what
I'm,
Is the proposal to a maximum of, Councillor?
Yes.
Very
Yes,
well, okay.
maximum 5,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that something palatable to you, Councillor Brooks?
yeah, if we put a limit on it,
Yeah.
and then,
Okay, so we can just take the amendment, the proposal is amended. So can we, first of all, can you vote for the amendment on your proposal, please, Councillor Wadsworth?
Right.
It says a maximum of £5,000.
So, yeah, for a
Thank
maximum cost of £5,000
Okay,
to claim back from UK SFP funds.
thank you. Can I have a seconder? And then Councillor Clark, and then all those in favour?
because if you read it, Sally, and it looks
Yeah.
like you're going to pay £5,000 for an
Let's not
advert.
have chit chat. Let's carry on. We've got a lot to get through. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. That was carried. So we're moving on to item 12, which is the deep clean of the town centre. I see that's been in the press already, so this is going to be an interesting debate. Do I have any comments on the paper as submitted?
No, I propose we go ahead with it.
So, Councillor Brooks, is that a second or are you
No, just a quick comment you'd expect me to. Is why are we only getting one tenders for most things lately? Like, that's a lot of money. And
specialist?
we should really be getting at least 2 quotes for things. I mean, just getting one. I mean, I think we can also point out, because you mentioned in the media, there was an article on, I think it's Oakham Nub News, saying that one of the traders saying that the money would be better off on parking. Well, I mean, I have to be careful how I put this, but I speak to a lot of traders and they'll say to me things like, sometimes councillors do, oh, I didn't know we had that shop round the corner. So they don't actually really see how bad the town is. So I would be very happy to support this, and also to put out that we spent, what was it, just over £2,000 for the last car park closing. So
2,200.
so you wouldn't get what some of them want, like a long period of
Okay.
car park closures for that amount of money.
Thank you very much indeed. So, is there any further comments? Please.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's a great shame that it's actually called Deep Clean of Town Centre, because I think that really doesn't cover all the things that it is. And if you said to somebody, it's simply deep clean, imagine just going to send a lorry down washing the pavements, or scraping off this, whatever. And it's actually a lot more than that. It's an unfortunate title, because people have said to me, we don't think that we should be spending £10,000 on a deep clean. But actually, when you look at all the things that it's going to do, it's going to, as it says in the beginning of the paper, that it's going to refresh the town centre. And I think that's actually a better title for it, rather than deep clean.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm not sure what we can do about that. But
No.
I'd just like to say, yes, I think it's a fantastic initiative. It's going to make the town look really good, and also with particular attention to the fact that it is coming from UK SPF funding, not the general precept, so it does not come out of the general pockets of our constituents, so it is an added bonus for which we must use or lose. So I think we might give particular credence to that and where it's coming from. So yes,
thank you very much for that comment. I'd like to add one thing to that. Was actually it was also voted on by the retailers at the very first meeting, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any further comments before we go to the vote? Okay, could I have a... We've got a proposer. Could I have a seconder, please? And
Sorry, who's-
take a pick.
Got loads.
And can we have a vote, please? All those in favour? That looks like unanimous. Good stuff. Deep clean. Web development for the town guide. So this follows on from a meeting we had with whatever they call themselves. Just let me have a quick look.
Web design.
Yeah, Rutland Web Design. The thing is, I felt that why we only have one contract, one bid, is because this is a very specialist company. What it's doing is doing marketing, so it's doing the necessary marketing, rifle shot marketing. I know you're in disagreement with them capturing emails, addresses and things, but that's actually the way it works. And so it's tremendously difficult. And I wasn't aware of anybody else within Oakham that actually had the nous to actually progress this website. And secondly, and this is only secondary, they reckon that they can get something up and running before the spring event, so they can be publicised. So that's only a very secondary consideration. So I'll throw this over to the floor. Any
I want to be
questions?
first. This was like RCC last night. No one wanted to be first.
Councillor Brooks.
I find it difficult because, as we've heard, that the money has to be spent by the 31st of March. And I mean, no disrespect to Paul, but it just seems like that has been sprung on the council at the last minute. I mean, I know you were talking about it when I first came on to the council. But there are little concern, and obviously it will probably get approved tonight, but the little concern is that there doesn't appear to be any detail about this second or third package. We seem to be missing out package one, but we're going for package two, which is £5,000. And then there's a bit in your report that says that we probably or may later go for package three. Now,
I can give you further detail on the...
Yeah, can I just finish? Yeah. How does that affect the website, because we don't have any details what package 3 is? If we use this UK, I can't remember the name, government money to pay for this setup, where's the money going to come from for stage 3, and when is that likely to happen? That's my issue with it.
Okay.
And then also the thing, it is, I mean, I used the word spam in here. I mean, I won't mention it, but I placed an advert for our event, and I haven't mentioned the name of the company, but I placed an advert in there, and that site has now got my email address, my council one. And since I placed that advert on Friday, I've had 6 emails from them telling me, put more. So that's what, it's annoying. That's what these automated systems do. And I don't want to be in a situation where the town council gets residents or retailers even who might put their details in annoyed by some automated system basically spamming them, because that's what it is.
Is there an opt-out in there?
Well, generally there's not, because I didn't, when I...
If I could just come in on this, because I do know a little bit about it.
I know you do, because
Yeah,
we've
so,
worked...
what this is we're adopting an incremental approach. Package 2 includes package 1, obviously. Okay, perhaps it wasn't obvious, but it does. Package 3, if you look at the detail of package 3, it's about putting QR codes, projectors and everything else. This is for the empty shops unit, so actually that is something that we felt that the priority, that was felt at the meeting and it was discussed, that the priority was to actually get the website up and running so that the retailers have a landing page for each of the individual shops. And that's something that's going to happen within package 2. So, and then from there, the bit that says custom CMS for business owners, the second bullet point on the package 2 option, actually allows those who haven't got an existing website, allows them to customise their own website to suit their needs, and obviously we'll give instructions.
CMS?
Customer management system. And then what will happen is that the more savvy, sorry, that's the bad word, those retailers who have a website will, they'll be able to actually have their landing page and they'll be linked directly to their website. So all of this is going to happen, we hope, within a fairly short order, plus the 9,000 flyers. So they have a lot of expertise. And as for spamming, my understanding, and this is something we can check, Councillor Brooks, is that the Bravo account is actually a sophisticated email that captures an email that comes in and says, I want to go and look for bangles, and it'll point them to the direct site. Yeah. So take a look here. And it isn't the case of, as you said, sending out lots of come and talk to us type emails. It's rifle shot marketing is the technical term.
Yeah, goes in my spam bin.
That's a medical side. Does that answer any of your questions before we move on?
Well, you didn't answer the important one, which was the financing of package number 3.
Undecided.
Are we, because that's the thing, we don't have anything in the budget, and I wanted to make it be clear, if I approve this website, because you know I'm not against the website, I would have liked a bit of choice and a bit more information, but I don't want to be in the situation where the project doesn't work because the council said, well, we're not going to spend X, because we don't even know what X is for packaged.
We do. We know there's an incremental
Well,
charge in addition, so the 5,000 we're paying now minus the total 12,700, whatever that is, comes out to is the additional cost to actually get package 3 running. And it was felt that we couldn't move that in time, and it wasn't felt that we needed to go that far.
But we don't know whether we've got that in the budget.
We have it reserved, and that's something to be discussed at council. So, okay.
But then if council say no,
Well, in which case we've got a satisfactory website. Yeah.
But that's the important thing, to know that if we did say no to whatever further expenditure, we weren't going to end up with something that doesn't really have a value to anyone.
We've yet to go through the whole development cycle, but we are assured that is the case. They have a huge amount of expertise in this field.
Okay.
And you can quote me on that. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine, and I love their, as I put in my thing, I love their logo with people.
Okay. Councillor Wadsworth.
Right, once this website's set up and running,
Yep.
who's running it?
Well, that's a very good question. I am hopeful that we'll get the retailers to take it over, and then we'll just help out with the financial grant or something similar to actually move up to package 3. But we'll see. There's no reason at all why this can't be run by ourselves, because it's self-managing with the CMS system on the landing page.
Okay,
But we can't run
I'll
our
use
own
that one.
website.
Pardon?
I'll hold you to that one.
Yeah, I know. We did have a long discussion, and actually, there's nothing worse than having a website out there with stale data. I can't think of anything worse. So that is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. And maybe when we come back to package 3, we have to look at the management. But in the first instance, it's going to be aimed at the retailers to get them exactly. And I would be raising my eyebrows as well if I was you.
Forgive my lack of expertise here. What are e-shots?
E-shots, I had to look up e-shots,
Is
and
that
I
a
thought,
drink?
and that's what I thought it might be, but it was actually emails.
Emails. All right. Is it the email equivalent of mail shots then?
Pass. I think it's just the latest buzzword for emails. In all honesty, I did look it up, and I couldn't find any.
I think we would be required to put on there, which is what I didn't see very clearly on the other site that I used last week, is you should have an opt-out. It's a requirement.
I think GBTR has to be observed.
Yeah.
They have to. So yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions, Councillor?
Excuse me. I was wondering how this interacts with our town council website.
It doesn't.
So it's a completely different project,
Yes.
and it's going to be for the shops of the town.
It's to promote it, yeah, so the objective is simply, as stated in the paper, when I find it, is to increase the footfall and the something.
And then for ongoing...
Engages education, increases spending in the town through the awareness of retail opportunities and events.
So for the ongoing cost of hosting the website, where's the money? Who's paying
Well,
for that?
they will be able, the retailers will be able to manage their own landing page. That's the purpose of the CMS bit.
Because just from my knowledge of, so the town partnership is not this. This is something separate,
At
which
the
is like
moment.
the retailers group. Retailers
Yes.
group.
Yes, to
Do
promote,
they have-
educate and increase spending, that's the purpose.
So do they have? I'm just thinking for longer term. Obviously, at the moment, we'll be signing the contract if this passes. So we're the business owners, or we're the one that put our name to the dotted line to say we want this contract to go ahead. Who's hosting the website for that ongoing payment for it to
They will be
exist?
hosting it.
Who will pay for it? I think what she's
The
trying
ongoing
to
hosting.
say.
I thought that was within the option price. We'll go back and clarify that.
Because we get that annual fee that came up tonight of nearly
Yeah.
£1,000
So I assume
for
it will
our
be
site.
launched, and I'm assuming maybe 12 months or so, but just then ongoing.
Correct.
Whether we have got then the liability to pay for this each year, or
We're not in the contract.
Well,
The contract will just be the delivery of this package.
so that's the.
and it's up to the
that's
retailers
fine.
will it fold from there.
I
to the
also
retail.
don't want that old website which is that no one's been paying for, and then all this money's been spent and then it just goes. So it'd be nice if we had that clarity. So if we can say it's going to cost this much, then if we're handing it across to said group of retailers, I know obviously they are our retailers, but that money, getting that and accessing funding and grants for it, they can start doing that now.
Yeah, somebody's got to manage it as well, because you can't just say that the council's going to spend that money and then who's running it? Who this is what, and there are the ongoing costs. If it was going to the town partnership, you could at least think, well, they've got money coming in, they could pay. But these people who come to the ESG, sorry if I get the name wrong, Economic Strategy Working Group as retailers, there is no structure. They're just people who come when they're invited. So there is nobody to actually hand it over to. If they had a trade of commerce or a part of the town partnership, then I wouldn't see an issue then, because it does worry me that we're going to maybe say yes, and I know there's the date thing for the first, but something is missing there of who is going to manage it, who is going to be responsible for the ongoing costs. It's not just going to sit there and be, we've paid to have it built, it's going to cost for the domain
Can I
name.
just add, probably not so much, like it's not a very large amount of money for a website, but the fact that potentially there'll be people's data on it, I think maybe that bit for me is the more concerning, that
Yeah, there's lots of-
Clearly,
Yeah.
I mean,
it'll be fine for the website for the GDPR, but then if we have a number of retailers accessing that personal data, and then they go out of business.
They won't be accessing personal data, they'll be accessing their landing page and what they do for the landing page.
Oh, okay, thank you for clarifying. I thought
Yeah.
that they'd be able to
No,
access.
so basically, there's a page that says, hello, this is whoever,
And they can put on their own.
and they can then do their own twiddly bits
Sales
as they see
perfect.
fit.
Yeah, that's
see
great.
fit.
So the idea is the retailer, if they want to, can add their shop, their business I'm looking at someone who might have an interest or direct away.
You have a nice website.
So the idea is
Yeah.
each shop can then put in and contribute. If you look at Discover Rutland, this developer has been involved, very much involved in Discover Rutland, putting videos on. There's a great video of the statue, which is on Discover Rutland, that she was involved with. So the whole idea is this is a new way and will provide for the retailers a new window for getting their business out there for people to see.
But it still doesn't answer the bit of who is going to own the
Yeah.
main
No, that's
site.
fine. Yeah, we do.
I think maybe,
Don't
I
know
agree, if it's up to the chair, maybe we need to investigate that. I would say we need to set aside something like, I can't think it would be much more than 1k a year.
Well, I think at the moment,
We'll find out what it is.
my view, for what it's worth, if it's worth anything, is that there's an awful lot of reasons why things that need to be put into place before we actually launch this kind of venture. And I think, given, and the primary reason for launching now is that we'll get a year, it'll go to the retailers will either embrace it or they won't embrace it, and when we come to the next year's budget, we'll say that actually the retailer's not prepared to support it. Do we want to continue to support it to promote the town? And I think that's the way forward. I will say that although we're hoping that retailers will all be managing their own, I'm going to call it landing page if you all understand what I mean by that, I'm sure you do. And that the thing that will need to be updated by our staff at the office is the events. So when we throw the spring event on the page, that'll have to be us that actually make sure that's up to
But
date,
if
and then we have the
there
subsequent
was a
events.
sale or something, and
Well, they do that on their own landing page.
that would be fine.
Yeah.
I've just got one tiny quick question. Does it integrate with social media so they can,
Facebook, etc.
Yeah.
all of the ones?
I believe, yes,
Yeah.
I think that's what perhaps an e-shop might be as well.
it could be. I couldn't find the definition or the response to that, to be honest with you.
I can tell you the definition of an e-shop is a simple and secure digital communication platform trusted by the public sector to run highly effective campaigns.
There we go. Campaigns being a marketing campaign.
Doesn't mean anything.
Hopefully.
Emails,
Email.
secure emails or what?
Secure emails.
Yes. Okay, are there any more questions or, if we're happy,
I
we'll,
would like some, because I was a little unhappy when you said we're going to spend this money, and if the retailers don't want it next year, it might, they're not going to dip in their pockets and say, here's the £1,000 amongst them, unless they might do.
If it
But at the
increases
moment,
footfall.
we're looking at it now. At the moment, they don't have a group.
Yeah,
So
I
it is
think
an ongoing cost that we hadn't considered.
okay. Well,
That's my
that's the
issue with
situation,
it.
so what I'd like to do is to propose, have we got a proposer?
Chris is
Sorry.
Sorry, Chris, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Answer Nick, sorry.
Just for my
Yeah,
opinion,
Chris.
I think that what we're putting forward is something speculative. It has a value in the future, although we can't solidify what that is presently. It involves some level of input from an external group for which we can't derive at the moment. However, we are under no further obligation after we've embarked on this to continue it. So ultimately our hands are not tied as a council to continue funding this after its initial input.
I see this as an investment in the community, but carry on.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with Councillor Nix. I think this is kind of a pump priming activity to put something in place to see whether there's, do it for the first year and see whether there's any traction from the town centre businesses to carry it forward. But until they see the value of it, it's kind of very difficult to answer the question about what they might get from it.
But importantly, as a council, we're not tied into
That's
anything
right.
on an ongoing
Yeah.
basis, so there will not be any requirement for further
No,
funding if
'cause
it falls flat.
I don't want to see this time next year on the payments we've
Yeah.
paid £1,000 to keep the website going.
Yeah, unless it's of value,
Unless it's-
which I
that's
agree
something
with.
that
Yes, we
Have
agree.
a conversation in a year's time.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think you have to
And
look
don't
at
forget,
that now.
It isn't just the retailers. One of the other criticisms, we'll have to bring this debate to a close
Business.
in the interest of time, is that actually one of the criticisms was that we are not promoting the town effectively.
Yeah.
And one of the things that this website can do is as it says here, educates, increases spending in the town through the awareness of retail opportunities and events. So how many events occur in the town that aren't adequately publicised? I'm thinking of so many people come to me and say, why didn't we advertise this more? So that is something that we can manage from within the office easily. and we can publicise the event. So I think it's dual purpose. Okay,
And it's also SPF.
and it is pump priming. I like that phrase.
And it is UK SPF.
Yeah, and of course I'm enthusiastic naturally.
But it's still government
Okay, I
taxpayers'
propose that we
money.
Thank you.
accept it.
Thank you.
Opposed, seconded.
Thank you.
Thank you. And have a vote, please. All those in favour? You,
I would be, but I'm going to abstain on the basis that I do own a business
You
in
do,
town,
thank
and
you.
so may.
so you have a vested interest.
Do I?
Okay, that's unanimous with one yes. Abstention. Abstention, one abstention. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Good debate, I thought.
Yes.
But I can see Sally Ann was getting, sorry, Councillor Waddles was getting partly frustrated with this debate. Right. Moving on to item 14, which is the refurbishment of Church Street toilets. We've discussed this ad nauseum ad infinitum, and we're now getting to the point where we have completed the government contract finder website. There was a tender came forward from Premier that was examined by.
Chairman,
consultants.
can I just ask, I want to leave the meeting at this point and sit as out of it because I don't want anything to do with this item.
Well, you can abstain on the item.
No, I'd rather leave I don't want, because it's a financial thing that's not been handled properly by the council.
Why do you believe that? Okay.
Well, we know
It's
that.
your prerogative. If you don't wish to participate in the debate, then you're absolutely entitled to do
But
that.
then I'm over here, I'm not going to say something that you might tell me off for.
Okay, is there anybody else want to contribute to this debate? Councillor?
Thank you for investigating the solar panels.
Okay, thank you. You did see the email trail? Sorry.
Well, all we need to do is to just make sure we've given due consideration to whether we can save money,
Yeah,
and that's what we've done.
thank you. Anybody got any other comments? Okay, thank you very much. Can I have a proposer then, please? I'll propose. Can I have a seconder?
We're doing both bits together.
Yes, did you want to split them?
No, I'm just clarifying.
Yes, we are, I'm sorry, yes, we are. So I'm proposing, seconded by
Hannah?
Hannah, councillor, and can we have a vote then, please? That's carried, with one, I'm not quite sure how to describe it, abstention, I guess.
No, I've left the meeting.
You've left the meeting,
Yes.
okay.
Then I'll come
Are you
back.
returning to the meeting now?
Yes. Because abstention doesn't make it quite clear that I strongly object.
Okay. Okay, if that's legal, is that legal? What's just happened?
He can leave the meeting and come back, yes.
That's fine then, good.
But it gets recorded, you see, that I left.
Okay, moving on next to, so that's passed, moving on next to item 15, which is Victoria Hall.
Keeps on giving.
Yes, exactly. So I think we're all aware of so discussion was held with Tom Tyler, others were invited, unfortunately everybody was busy. And out of that discussion came what you see, the paper in front of you. So what I'm asking is that we, council resolves that I'm not going to read it, you've all read it, so that we actually consider replacing the boiler, subject to the A, B and C, and that in the fullness of time we relocate to Victoria Hall. It should be borne in mind, despite the press rumours, he said, looking down that it isn't going to happen. We have a 6-month lease here, so it's going to happen, and there is another lease for some of the rooms that we want. It's actually extending into November, so the earliest it can happen at the moment is November.
I missed that in the press.
I don't. In any case, we don't want to discuss the press issue. After all,
Councillor Brooks.
So I'm going to open this to the floor.
I like that it would be saving on our rent. I was just going to ask around the sentence, third bullet point of office accommodation. The last bit, the current rent is 11,000 plus additional cost for electricity and heating. Do we know whether it would be more or less expensive costs for the council to exist isn't the right word, but do we know if the costs will be comparable?
Well, it's the rent that we were quoted, and that's subject to procurement clearly,
It's less than here.
was inclusive of utilities, which seemed to me incredibly generous.
Okay, so it actually would be a huge saving for the
It's
council.
substantial, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it.
Have you done? Thank you very much.
Support, I think
Councillor
it's-
Brooks.
Yes, I don't
Welcome back,
mind.
by the way.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I don't mind going back to Victoria Hall, and I will support that part of it. I mean, I don't understand why we need to do the boiler thing. I mean, I see this alarm ringing here, small grant of 5,000, and without repeating what's recently happened with grants, that we don't have the information that the council asked for, unless it's in the office, but I've not been made aware of it, when they were supposed to be coming to us within a month and then a month with their accounts
talking
and
about?
things.
Who's they?
Victoria Hall.
Okay. We haven't entered into any other grant agreements with them.
Well, it says grant in here.
No, that's not our
I think
grant.
they've got it from somewhere else.
Yes, they did. They got it from somewhere else.
Okay, I'm misreading that. Sorry, but no. The thing is that I did put it in my notes that one of the concerns is we will save money on rent, but when the council moved here, a huge amount of money was spent on here. A huge amount of money was spent in Victoria Hall, and I was in there the other evening and looking where we used to live. It was a bit nostalgic to see what was the chamber, and everything that the council had paid for, like the carpet, was very expensive and was treated like royal carpet, shampooed at hundreds of pounds every year, has gone, thrown away, and you just think, if we move, are we going to have to go down that road of spending thousands of pounds again, which they did during lockdown? It's before your time, Chris, to move here. A lot of money was spent. So I don't want to. I just wanted to put across
the spent before is going to be spent this time, because they went a bit OTT on buying all new office furniture as well. That's why it cost so much last time.
I know, but we had perfectly good office furniture in the old place.
Well, I think you can rest assured
does
it'll come to council before
I'm
we
hoping
expect
that
it to.
if we agree this, that we would be being a bit more. I didn't want to use the word OTT, but be a bit cautious this time with public money. And
Thank you for that observation, Councillor. You don't want to say anything?
No, not
Okay. Does anybody else want to contribute? No, I see nothing.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
Just the line that says the proposed rental includes priority access to the larger meeting room.
Oh, so yeah, I'll give you more detail on that if you wish.
Yeah, it says we get priority, but if they happen to rent it out to somebody else for 6 months.
That'll be part of the rental. Our lease agreement or the rental agreement or whatever we enter into would dictate that we have access to a room that's a suitable size for the meeting chamber. Otherwise, we won't be entering into that agreement. So when it was shorthand for saying that it'll be embodied in the lease that we have access to a chamber, a room that is big enough to hold us. Yeah.
Is there one in Victoria Hall of that size?
Yes.
There will be.
Yes.
The idea, I'm just outlining it at the moment, this is all outliners, I'm sorry, Chair. The outline would be the left-hand, as you walk in the doors, the left-hand side would be the offices. The right-hand side, which is Barclays in the front room, there's only a stud wall between the two. That will be knocked through.
Oh, there's only a stud wall, so
Yes,
that would
only a
become
stud
one
wall,
big
so that can
Yeah.
become one big wall. And
We-
the trustees are desperately keen to develop that into a meeting room, a posh meeting room, like this one in a way, that can be rented out when we are not using it, and those are the key words, when we are not using it. So we will have a calendar of events, and we will have priority, and they will not be able to, in my opinion, that will be part of the agreement, not be able to put anything in that room except with our say-so on those days.
Let's just add most of the need for meeting rooms is daytime office hours. So for me, that would make sense.
Yeah.
They are, sorry, the chairman of VH is absolutely convinced that a modern meeting room of a reasonable size, of a good size in that Victoria Hall will be an asset to the hall. That's his opinion.
And I should say, obviously, what you've already agreed was the building survey still is going ahead. I've given the head a period for that we will get the building survey report to just check there's nothing substantially wrong that we need to
We
address.
know there's damp in the corner, so let's get all this sorted out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So who's next? Did you want to go next? Councillor Nix. I think we've heard enough of Councillor Brooks for a little while. We'll go straight to
Yeah, I just have a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, my opinion would be that having served as a trustee formatively on the Vicky Hall, that boiler has been a long-standing point of contention, and for a very lovely civil building that was obviously greatly appreciated by the community. I think it needs a bit of TLC, and I think us taking residence there would be a very, very good way of shoring things up and giving some much needed stability to the hall.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a quick question on the lease thing, because it says on there, if I'm reading it right, that the rent will be 8,500 per annum. Is that going to be subject to increase each year, because our rent there went up quite a lot?
It will be subject. We have to draw a lease agreement, and that lease agreement will dictate.
But I would hope then it would take into consideration, from what I'm now reading, that if we're going to pay for the boiler repairs, they've got 5,000, so that leaves 18,000. So surely that should be taken into consideration in any negotiations, that we don't just hand over 18,000.
The spirit of the meeting, and the spirit doesn't always go to actually being anchored into a contract, but the spirit of the meeting was that we would be paying our contribution of £8,000, because after all there is a running cost for the hall and to keep it viable, but we would tie down any investments from the SIL money in a contract that said it has to be spent on the SIL money, and A, B and C will be followed. So it's likely that when we get the building survey report back, that there may be additional works, but we're not committed to anything other than saying what we need to do is give the Victoria Hall some assurance that we are serious in our courting of them. So really the whole purpose of this is to say, yes, we can give you the money for the boiler, subject to A, B and C, and that yes, we have the intention to move back in subject to a suitable agreement, and that agreement says everything that you've just covered. Sorry, just very quickly, Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Chair. We have got written confirmation from RCC that we can spend the SIL money on this.
Yes, in fact we went slightly further and said they were also looking to get windows and goodness knows what else, and that should we so wish, that we could spend SIL money.
That's part of what the SIL money is there for, to
exactly.
community facilities.
Exactly. Okay, sorry, I'll come back to you in a second. I just want to...
No, I just wanted to let's put it in very general terms, potentially for your benefit, Councillor Brooks, that this could be considered as a statement of intent from which to put forward a heads of terms for whatever subsequent documentation will come about, if that's somewhat explanatory.
I just wanted some safeguard that we weren't going to get into the position that we give them lots of money and then the rent just goes up and up, because that was part of the reason that they moved here,
also the fact
because it got silly rent, and we were there years and years and paid lots.
This is a statement of intent. Councillor Wadsworth.
I just want to say, so it can be noted, right, that we are only giving them 18,000.
At this moment in time, for the boiler.
Right, because
we're not giving it to them yet.
The rumours that's flying around at the moment is that Oakham Town Council are moving into Victoria Hall and giving Victoria Hall 57,000.
Yes,
that's what I was told as well.
So I wanted stating
fake news.
the press.
There is no such agreement is in place. The only agreement that's been proposed is that which is on the paper for 18,000. If there were to be additional amendments, that would come back to council as how they determine they would want to invest further or not.
Can we, so that there's not any confusion down the line, could we not appoint, obviously yourself, because you've been working on it, make sure we clearly appoint who is actually working on this project, a working group of yourself, and if you need because you need another councillor, so maybe Chris, because he's done a wonderful job on Princess Avenue. It would be.
I'm happy for it to remain with the SWG
But I think if you go across to now negotiating lease and things, it has to be with the clerk and a working group, rather than people can't come to the meeting. And I wasn't asked to go to the meeting. So I'm not complaining about that, but we need to put some proper structure in place now if we are going to agree this.
My view is that we do that with the ESWG, it already exists, so.
And the proposal in front of you commits us to nothing.
It's proposing that.
You keep going on about the 8,500. That's the proposal from Victoria Hall, not from us. And in any of these negotiations, there can be counter proposals.
They might suddenly decide at the last minute to increase it to 12,000 or something, in which case we won't accept. Councillor?
It's more about the terminology, because we talk about us giving them the money, or it's our money.
Exactly.
Actually, the community's money.
Yes.
And what we're doing is investing in a community facility. And I think when we talk about our money, well, actually, it's the community's money that the levy is for,
Yes, it is.
and develop a resource for the community. So I would have thought this is a good investment for the town.
Yeah, that's certainly, obviously my view.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that contribution. Councillor Brooks, have you done?
Yeah, but I still would like to propose at some stage that we have a formal working group, which can be of 2 councillors.
That's not on the paper today.
No, but I can propose.
You can propose at this meeting, by all means.
If we accept this now, I can propose in the meeting that we do that.
Yes, you can.
And then there's
It's
none
always
of
been
that
a paper.
business of you saying I couldn't get someone else to come, and it's not a negative thing, but you said that you couldn't get someone to go to the meeting with
It's only because
you.
it was short notice.
Yeah.
Because it got cancelled.
Things tend to be short notice. Okay, can we, if we're happy, then I'll conclude that conversation. What we'll do is we'll move on. And proposer will be my good self. Can I have a seconder, please? Let's have a change of heart and let's have Councillor Brooks as the seconder, please. You've done it already, good. And if we have a vote.
Unanimous.
Unanimous, my goodness me.
And now can I make a proposal that a working group, which is in our standing orders, the working group has to be of 2 people. That's my
Well, if
proposal.
you, you're not making a proposal now, don't you?
Yes, I'm allowed to make a
You
proposal.
can add that to this proposal. You should have done it technically on the proposal. It should have been, can I add?
Yeah, but I wasn't going to argue that.
No, I mean,
So,
it's up to the chair if he accepts that you.
Okay, can we have a,
so my proposal is that the council sets up a working group
purely for the purpose
for
of
the
negotiating?
purpose of negotiating the council's
Okay, before we
move to
propose that,
Victoria Hall.
Okay, I'm willing to do that. First of all, let's see if we've got any volunteers to step forward. Who wants to join that working group?
Well, I'm sort of like already in it.
You are, so.
Well, it
so I'll propose
formalises
myself.
it.
I'll offer where I can.
Okay, so we've got
this.
2 plus 1 and a half.
And I'll
plus a
second
half.
that then.
Okay, you're proposing, so you can't second. Can I have a seconder for the motion, please? Now we've got the volunteers.
I'll second it as a volunteer.
I will
Second it, and now let's have a
second
vote then. Are we happy about this? Sorry, did you want to speak,
No,
Councillor?
I was just
Can I
thinking.
just be clear who's on the
I
group?
just don't think.
Councillor Wadsworth and myself and Councillor Nix. Who,
Did you want to be on it or not?
No, I don't want to be on
No, that's
it.
okay, right.
Me and Paul
God
will
forbid you
fight.
didn't work. Okay, let's have the vote, shall we? We've got a proposal, we've got a seconder
Okay,
to
so
the
I'm
vote.
going to abstain.
Yes. Councillor Clark, are you voting? Or?
I would like to know the terms of reference, to be honest, before I vote.
Well, before the terms of reference is to negotiate the lease and the move to Victoria Hall.
Well, that's what the working
What
group's
we've
for,
got from
isn't
the
it?
Yes, we'll come back with terms of reference.
And it quite clearly says you've got to come back to council, so there wouldn't be any issues. But I just wanted to make it formal,
Yes.
so that
Fine,
they
we've got
know
your point. We've got your point. We've got your point. I'm looking at the clock. Got your point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, are you abstaining?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
They
Gosh.
should get voted
Well
on.
done, everyone. Right.
Yes, exactly. Well done. Well
May I
done.
just
Good.
also say something else about this, to pick up the rumours that Councillor Wadsworth was talking about? We really need to have something which we put in to let people know what we are planning to do.
Well,
Because at the moment there's a gap in the communication and people are just...
The,
Well,
web,
we
the
just
website
want
will
to
handle
meet
that, Councillor Clark.
Sorry?
The new website will handle that.
and additionally, we do actually have a media group, don't we?
We could have a press release on
Yeah, that
which
would-
clearly states
Yeah.
the facts, and then you could send it to Grace, you could send it to Sarah or whoever.
I think
Martin, come with the press release and send it to the office and they will release it.
I think we
Or
need to have a
doctor.
press
You need to do it because you're you know what's going on.
So to the office.
We will send a press release to the press regards to Victoria Hall negotiations.
Right.
And it can squash the rumours. They know exactly what.
Well, I'm hoping that
we're
we'll
going
get
to give
fair reporting.
£160,000.
He said glaring at the end of the room. No, not glaring. Thank you, everybody. So moving on to item 16, which is the roundabout replacement at Cuts Close. So this is, we've had two quotes actually,
Yes, we have now.
and the first quote was from our usual players, which is Playscape,
Yep.
which have been doing all the work in the since time immemorial, but it was felt that the second quote, and that second quote was actually too expensive in comparison to Playscape. So in any case, this paper,
That was from Wicksteed.
yeah, this paper is to replace one of the roundabouts. We believe the second roundabout up Princess Avenue can actually perhaps be repaired, and we want to do further investigation. And additionally, the ubiquitous UK SPF, it's possible that they can pay this because it's a facility in the town centre which is going to enhance, it provides an all-inclusive roundabout as well as replacing a bit of equipment that's wobbly. The total cost is £5,785 for those who didn't know.
Where did I get the 18,000 that's on the back?
That's what's on this.
That's
It's a
the
bit
total.
misleading,
It's a
really.
total,
That's the one, this Princess Avenue is included, so it's,
Yeah, so I was just, can you just help me with the maths, please? Sarah?
sure.
Which bit are
I'm
we?
glad.
Remove
confused.
495,
Very
new equipment
confused.
3495, installation 1795. That's only for Cuts Close.
So it's
So it's
And
the first three
supply.
items.
so it's the Princess Avenue 495 and
No, it's not Princess Avenue, it's not
No,
included. No,
it's-
it's Cuts Close only.
so the top two.
Three items.
Three.
Three items. Remove
Perfect.
new equipment installation.
3495 and 1795.
Total 5785.
And is there a reason that we couldn't get the accessible one in Cuts Close, or is that an accessible one?
It is an accessible one.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not an accessible one.
It is. It's all inclusive,
It's
isn't
not
it?
got a wheelchair on
It's
it.
not got accessible means you can get a wheelchair into it and out of it. That's what we've got at Princess Avenue at the moment already. So the idea is at the moment,
Okay.
Which is ironic because you've
if we
got
want to go
mud
for an
getting up
accessible
to
one,
it.
you certainly
I
can.
know,
go for
Joyce
an accessible one,
planned
it's
all
about
that.
2K more.
So can we get? Is it possible to get an accessible one on Cuts Close?
Yes, if you want to go for that, I can get the quote and dig it up. It's about 2K more.
I think we ought to do that.
I
do.
would be in
Yeah,
favour of
yeah.
that.
I can.
Sorry, I misread.
It's-
I obviously
It's
thought it was all
quite
inclusive.
it's quite
So again-
small on
I
the
thought it was accessible and all inclusive. I just
because it
assumed.
is in-ground flush installation and it's hard standing to get to the front of Cuts Close play park, isn't it? Can someone help me out?
What's that?
When you go up to the front of Cuts Close,
It's flat.
can
It's
you
flat.
can you wheel up to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want accessible, certainly, but it will cost about 2K. I can dig out. Can't dig out the quote immediately, but if you want to go,
Well, that's on, it was here, 6995. It's to
So instead of-
supply-
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
basically,
Supply an
yeah, but
inclusive
that's
roundabout.
I
It
think
is a
that's
larger
slightly
one.
bigger one.
So
But
it might be.
Oh, right.
In that region, then.
if you want to say
Yeah, so it's a
yes,
wide- it's
but
a
we
bigger
want it
one
to be
than Princess
inclusive,
Avenue.
then I can go for that.
I think we
I
ought
mean,
to
the
do
reason
that.
I'm doing all of this, and this is nothing to go against Playscape or Rosper reports or anything. I keep looking at the roundabout we've got in Cuts Close, and it's rusting.
Yeah.
There's a dangerous gap between
Yeah.
the.
Well, that's been on reports for years.
I know. Well, they don't.
Nobody
put it on
does
the
anything
report,
about it.
exactly.
Well, it says medium, isn't it, or low, rather.
It doesn't actually come as in my opinion, it is, and therefore I want one that's flush with the ground so that there's no risk to children.
Yeah. Would it add a lot of time in terms of delivery to have a wheelchair access?
No, we can do that even before March the
Well,
31st.
I think we should do that.
Can I propose an amendment
Yes,
to?
I was more than happy, I was worried. that-
Do we need to set a maximum budget then?
Well, it's difficult to do that. I think
16.
I don't know, maybe we could guess it.
without a max to contractors.
Well, if you're
Can we
looking at
assume
this,
it's
it's
not
certainly
gonna
going to
be
be no
more?
more
I've
than
got a
£7,000.
quote that can be as per the quote I have in my file, which is about 1 2k more.
Because we can assume it's not going to be more than the one which is
Then
quoted, which
that's a
is
bigger one.
larger.
You can see
Princess
it's
Avenue.
Yeah.
Princess Avenue is
It's 220.
220.
because it's much bigger.
This is ours,
70,
150.
so it's smaller.
And
So the price, additional price, if we can come to a maximum price, I think that's a realistic
Let me just
proposition.
Shall I add 2k onto that?
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
Add your 2k on.
So we're saying it's going to be maximum price of £8,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
5785 plus 2 is
Yeah.
7785, give a bit 8.
Yeah.
Mine.
it's 3,500 more.
3.5.
How do you know? What?
I think. Let me just double check my maths.
Yeah, but that's a much bigger one.
It's
So
a much, so it's definitely not going to be anywhere near as much as
No.
that, but
Well,
minus 3.
we'll come to you.
yeah, no, it's fine. I'm
Because
just
the one
waiting.
in Princess Avenue is 220.
I'd like Hannah to finish.
Yeah.
She knows what
It's
she wants.
£3,500 more for almost a third bigger increase.
So if we can set a maximum of 5785 plus 3000.
3,000?
Yeah, so that's 8785.
I would have said 8,000 ought to be enough.
Okay, we can always come back. So a maximum of
We can't
£8,000.
if you want to spend it this year.
No, we need to do it.
Because of the.
Well, if it falls because it exceeds 8, well, do you want to say 8.5 then? How about that as a compromise?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so a maximum budget of £8,500. Sorry,
Remember,
Councillor
this
Brooks.
is not with VAT.
And then it will have to come back for the payment
This is net,
approval.
not
For payment, yes,
Yeah.
which is not the same as approving the expenditure.
You would expect me to raise the issue, and I guess this is all based on time thing, and since I asked, you obviously have got Wixty, which the council has never used because they are the most expensive. We use them for, which was mentioned, the annual reports, which I think cost about £150, which is quite reasonable, and they've always used Wixty. But I don't want to delay this because obviously we've had a ton of wet poured, which has made that gap, which has been highlighted as amber and basically ignored for over 5 or 6 years. And I've read on the reports say that children could get their arms or limbs trapped underneath. So now the wet port, as I looked at it today, has been gone up a good couple of inches. I would imagine if it was reported on tomorrow, it would probably have a red. So I would hope that we would now sort out what we're going to do. But what I don't understand, and please don't think I'm having a go at you, we have a mixture of equipment, and we could have got a quote from, is it Compan? It begins with
I think one of the
K.
companies is no longer in existence.
I think they are, because they did the skate park and
Yeah,
and they did those funny things that are dirty with the cups and that. So we do have a mixture of the two. And I would prefer that we did have more than one quote of reasonable.
We've got two.
Yeah, but we've got the Wixty one, which everyone knows is going to be.
Not everyone, because I didn't know.
No, but I know, I remember. That's why we don't.
Okay, I think
But are we, and also I did make the comment that we need reports at the meeting, which are, people get offended when I say things. Like, I read that and I was thinking we're being asked to approve £18,000. Now I feel that I'm an idiot, but I think other people might have thought that reading it. And
the opening sentence does say, the aim is improve play facilities at Cuts Close, so I don't...
but the bill
Yeah, but
that we were being asked to
this
approve
decision,
goes through a
this
total
paperwork looks like
£18,000.
Yeah,
And I was shocked.
Not if you read it.
I
did
did read
it, but the actual bit on the back
Okay,
that we
I
got
might-
sent
I apologise.
says 18,000.
Okay, so
It's
your point...
confusing.
So what we need tonight is obviously, which Hannah's come to a figure, if we can have a proposal that gets it done as quick as we can, because I think there is a risk, and there always has been, but the risk has become greater, that we can get that done, not just taken out, because when we take things out, they don't get replaced.
No, we're going to replace it.
Yeah, we need to
Okay.
make
so,
it an urgent job, please.
Thank you, that's noted. We will move as quickly as we're able to.
So Hannah's got a hand up.
Yes, thank you very much.
Because you're going to have to figure.
so to propose, it definitely won't be as much as the inclusive roundabout that's as big as that. If it was, it would be 8,785. So I would,
Without VAT.
plus VAT.
Yeah.
So I
Which
was
we-
going to
yeah.
propose 8,500.
8.5, okay.
And then we will
Plus
definitely
VAT.
plus VAT.
Yeah. Okay.
That would
So
be
can
my
we
proposal.
just have the proposal read back to us then, so that we're all on the same page? Councillor Clark, sorry.
Oh, do you
I'm going
want
to
to-
propose it.
Oh, will you present it?
I'm sorry, Councillor, I've read across you.
So will you
I'm
propose
confused.
it?
Do you want me to- are you
The
reading?
proposal will be that the council agrees that the town clerk replaces the roundabout at Cuts Close as per up to a limit of 8,500 net.
But close, but the crux of the proposal that's an all-inclusive, accessible.
All singing,
Yes.
all dancing.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the crux, so that's got
Yeah.
to be put in accessible and inclusive.
Proposing.
I proposed.
Sorry, are you seconding or
I'm
what?
seconding it.
Thank you.
Chris is. We're fine.
Okay, good.
Oh, I don't mind. You
No, Chris.
No.
I did want to know.
Gentlemen, please don't fight.
Sally Ann.
Are you,
No,
are
I'm
we
voting.
voting? And can I have a vote, please?
Right.
Brilliant, pass, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we now come to, is it the final motion?
Yeah.
Well done. Item 17, over to you, Councillor Christopher Nick.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I visited the OTC owned property on Princeton Avenue that's currently being used as a dance studio, just to have a bit of a general look around. The tenant has reported that it is quite cold in there in the winter months. That I can attest to, it is. So yeah, as a result, I've compiled a few considerations for us all to have a look at. So I'm not going to do these on block for obvious reason. It's a paper to look at improving the environmental and financial efficiency of this particular property, to promote the effective stewardship of that property, and support the tenant of the asset in exploring further developments within that business property. So, it's come to my attention that item on number 1 on this particular proposal is no longer needed. There is already a current ECP,
Sorry, EPC.
Energy Performance Certificate. What did I say?
ECP.
Oh, my apologies, sorry, it's very
It's okay,
dyslexic.
I should have shut up. I find it difficult.
That is current until I think 2030. I think I did just glance it, but
Is
it's
it
still.
also accurate? Sorry. Have there been any improvements since then?
It has recommendations.
There has been some improvements. There are 2 meters in the manhole, and the lights have been looked at to a certain extent. We're replacing them.
No insulation.
Yeah,
There are no installations been put in.
yeah. So based on that, there's no need to consider item number 1 on there. Our item number 2, I would suggest that following the recommendations from the ECP, that I politely ask the town clerk to prepare a costed list of works for potential remedial activities to improve the thermal efficiency and thus the financial efficiency of that said building. And I would like that to be raised as an agenda item for discussion by full council within the next meeting, if that's all right, please, clerk. If that's compliant with your workload. Can we take a vote on that as point
Is
number
that
1?
okay.
Yeah.
I'll do them in parts, just in case anyone's got any particular contentious points.
Uh-oh.
Don't you have to
Are you voting or have you got?
I'm voting now, I want to go home.
I'll propose that.
Propose, seconder, please. Seconder, and then who's seconding? You got that?
No, I think
Well, he proposed, I seconded it.
Let's vote then.
Okay,
That's 1 and 2, yes?
so 1 is taken
One
out,
is
yes.
gone.
one
That's
is
the
gone,
one.
2 we voted on.
Number 3.
2 is
Done.
passed, yep. Okay, so on to point number 3.
Backlighting, yeah.
Yep, so conditions of the tenant satisfying all associated requirements at the tenant's cost to permit backlighting of their exterior sign of the building. I can see no issue with that as long as they are.
Oh, I have issues.
Go
You
ahead.
have issues.
In general, but also, unfortunately, I do object normally to backlighting because I'm concerned about light pollution.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that I probably want a proposal to come back to the light, how much, whether it be on all the time.
Well, there is
Yeah.
guidance on that. You have to comply with guidance for backlit signs.
Yeah.
So you have to comply with it prior to installing
So I
backlighting.
would think I would want a proposal of what it would look like before we approved it unconditionally.
Okay.
I'm
So
going
that's
to
deferred
come
to-
across as a bit thick because obviously it's good at how the thing's been done, but I didn't really understand what the backlight was. And then I thought in my own head that it was a sign advertising the place. And then I thought of the history of people, rightly so, complaining about things from trees to nuisances around that building. And I'm like Hannah there, and
Right,
we
that's-
got the rugby club to not have their lights on after a certain time, and especially if they weren't there. So I think I would agree. I'd like to know a bit more what a backlight is. Is it floodlighting? Is it a
No, so
A sign.
So shall we vote to defer that until the next meeting,
A
please?
light glow behind it.
So I think I'd like to have a proposer second to defer that to the next meeting, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
Proposer,
isn't it just that we say yes? My proposal, sorry, was that we would just want them to.
but I think quite a few people didn't really know.
Oh.
Let's have a look.
We'd need to see a
So number
drawing
three
of
needs-
it.
Number three, voting to defer. Can we just have a vote on that, please?
I think you've been
Please.
overruled.
Everybody, thank you.
So
Councillor
Hannah,
Nix?
you
Oh, you're not
proposed
voting?
it.
No,
Yes, you can.
I don't know if I approved.
Deferred.
I don't really know what happened, to be honest.
I think the chairman
It's not-
deferred.
Chairman's voted
Lighting.
I voted in.
Oh, right, sorry.
So number 4, condition to the tenant complying with guidance on use of security systems.
Okay, so this is
It's
I'm
deferred.
substantial. So
Oh,
number
right.
4,
Yeah, I've got that.
Go on, sorry.
4A is removed. Just for your
Yeah.
thought.
4A is no longer there.
4A is no longer there. 4 is is amended as such. So conditional to the tenant complying with guidance on use of security systems and data collection, that the council purchase and install a ring doorbell or similar to be fit to improve the security of the property, and that should be retained as a fixture in perpetuity or until obsolete by the council and owned by the council.
Do you
Okay.
know how much that would cost? 'Cause we
To a
need-
maximum of £400.
A ring doorbell, depending on how Amazon fill, can cost you £80.
Yeah, it's
Or
they're
20
relatively.
or-
Yeah, it depends on the time of the
They're
year.
But then
relatively
you have to pay for the annual.
And
So
then
how much
also
have we
depends
budgeted
whether it's
for?
on mains,
Okay.
electricity.
to a maximum of £400. Okay, footage and recordings access to footage and recordings to be extended to the tenant for security management on their behalf on a day-to-day basis as seen fit.
Can I just add so that the people understand what I asked Chris to amend this. I won't go into all the details, but the tenant wants security cameras. So the only way around I could see that the council could do it is by the ring doorbell, and it belongs to the council. With a ring doorbell, you have an app which the council can share with the tenant on their phone, and they can add as many ring cameras as they want at their cost, but the doorbell would remain. And if they want to subscribe to more than the 5-second videos, then that's down to them to pay the subscription. I felt we wouldn't be paying a subscription for it.
But the ring doorbell will need Wi-Fi in necessarily.
Well,
Yeah, it would connect off of their Wi-Fi, and I imagine they have
Emily's got
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, I haven't a clue.
I don't think they did.
I don't think Emily's got.
Have they not got an office there?
No.
So,
So we need to.
but any security system is going to need Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
The ring has to know
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to have Wi-Fi,
Okay,
okay,
yeah.
so we don't know whether they have it, so can we approve this?
I can only assume that they have, but okay.
So
Can we?
Do you want
Can
to
we?
bear that one as
I think so.
well?
No. So on the assumption that they do,
Right.
yes, and that it is an applicable thing for the job, obviously, which will become apparent on conversation,
Yeah.
that we are happy to go ahead with that.
Yeah, I would second that. But they
You
need
might want
to.
to consider getting two ring doorbells, so one for them, because they're two.
Yeah, you can add on to them. They got
if we're going to
£200.
pay for this, we need to put a maximum payment.
So
Can I
just-
ask a question before we
400.
vote? I was going to ask, I'm assuming this is due to antisocial behaviour.
Yes, because it's known around Princess Avenue, the tenants have felt threatened themselves in that capacity, and from what they've explained to me, the car park and surrounding area is potentially often being used for illicit behaviours, and they're
So
really
have
quite
they been-
uncomfortable in that
So
area.
because there is CCTV, so have we investigated whether that's being accessed?
I'll fill in on an anecdote on that, because I actually went to the
sorry, I
police and
haven't
spoke
finished.
to them.
So I hadn't actually finished.
I'm so sorry.
So I'm uncomfortable with us allowing Amazon and private companies to have effectively surveillance on that area, because I've got some reservations, but I know that there is CCTV there, so I just want to know that we had definitely explored whether actually we could install additional public CCTV. And I think that's what you were going to share, Chair.
I was actually going to share about the drug problem up there. I actually went to the police about that on her and Emily's behalf some time ago, and she found herself locked in the building, actually, unwilling to leave because of a white van that came up on regular occasions and was seen dealing. So it's a very real concern.
But a Ring doorbell is not going to stop that.
No, but it could be recorded, and because it was difficult to capture the license plate, what do they call it? No, it's not a license plate, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Registration.
thinking if we're
Yeah.
concerned about the safety of that area, whether this is necessarily the solution, because it's not going to stop.
Well, there's already CCTV in place there that currently isn't stopping anything. So my
So-
suggestion would be to enable our tenant, enable
Feel
them.
more secure.
Well, not only to feel more secure, but actually to ensure the stewardship and security of that building
Correct.
as the asset.
But will that, so say something happens, I can't say that, can I? What's she going to do with that recording afterwards? It's not going to stop the crime, that's my concern.
Really gives evidence to the
It will be a higher resolution image to share.
It'd be a deterrent,
Yeah.
that's the thing about it. If you know you're on closed circuit
It is a
television.
deterrent.
Yes.
But is it,
I'm
have
afraid
we
I know
asked-
where Councillor Hannah Williams is coming from, and this is a touchy subject because what you're saying is ring cameras in private residence, the only thing you usually see on them is your garden
Yeah.
and them, whereas this ring camera will be on a public space.
You can
So
actually,
you need lots
can
of
put a net.
permissions and lots of
and I know you've got that in your
things to
paper.
go
Perhaps.
through before you can do that. So in other words,
There's a
what
lot-
you're concerned is someone
There's a lot
could
of
use it
responsibility on us as
for
the tenant. Yeah,
other
as us
things
as the.
than- It is a really tricky.
I think
And
There,
also-
there is very well documented guidance on this. I know that because I've put security cameras in my
I mean,
establishment.
there are
And-
Ring doorbell cameras all over Oakham now,
Yes.
and you get people having the car accidents and people using their
I know.
video pictures from their Ring cameras to try to catch people who perpetrated these crimes. I mean, they are all over the place now.
It's a question also if you're right about the criminal activity. I'm trying to not put myself in that position, but if I was white van man and saw a Ring doorbell where I was parking my white van on every day, I suspect I know what might happen to that Ring doorbell because it's external to the premises, of course.
It is, but the Ring doorbell also monitors tampering and movement there outside.
It will
So
record
it will
the
record
person
exactly
taking
who
it.
has caused that damage.
Not if they wear some kind of balaclava.
But we could play yes
This,
card
this
here.
is all just conjecture, so.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying it's very tough
I
to get it right.
I have cameras on my property, 2 different companies. There is no way when you have CCTV now, unless you have an old-fashioned wired system with a hard drive. Every company sells you a system now where you use what they call the cloud.
Yeah.
Now, if you set your Ring doorbell, I won't show you it now on mine, to comply with GDPR, it upsets the police because there was an incident in my road and I was showing them the footage, nothing, because you have settings, a blue web, and it may look like you're looking at across the road, but people have to step into my property before it starts recording from the cameras. So that was what you would have to ensure with this, with the additional cameras, that they weren't pointing at someone's house and recording. So you would put the nets, you'd have to to ensure that it's all set properly.
I'd just like to praise I suppose, my points, just for general consideration, without any fluff.
We should do something.
We have a tenant who is residing in one of our properties. As a good landlord, I would suggest that we should do everything in our power to enable our tenant not to feel intimidated and insecure in the property that we have a duty of care over. What I'm suggesting is that as long as there are well documented guidelines for the use of recording devices on the exteriors of properties. As long as we are, and I have set conditional on all of those terms being adhered to, I would like to think that we as a council can support our tenant in doing that. And that is all.
I think item 4 is actually written quite well, and it says conditional to tenant complying with guidance and use of security system and data collection. What more do you want?
I was just going to ask a quick question. Have we explored whether there is the possibility of having additional public security things? Is that because it is
Oh,
a
you
part?
mean, so whether we
Yeah,
get
because it was when you said about the police. Whether
Anecdotally, yes, but in me preparing this paper, no.
No, but I think previously you'd said about reporting behaviour, so I was wondering if, and I completely agree that we should do all we can to keep our tenants in our properties so they're feeling safe.
Do we
I
not
also
do
felt
this?
this is much more cost effective than having a new
Yeah.
security and surveillance system.
I didn't realise that this was such a
Sorry,
serious
can
thing.
So yeah, so have we previously, because I think perhaps possibly we have, and this is why we've got this, because we tried to get additional security and it wasn't possible.
Okay, would you like to propose that? We have basically an addition to the motion that's proposed on the paper.
No, it was a question.
£400. I'm asking the same thing. Would you like to propose that we actually approach RCC, who provides the cameras up there, to actually see whether they will install additional cameras?
I thought we had already, so I was asking the question.
I don't believe we
We've
have.
got some.
We keep trying to get the whole system, who looks after it says it's dated, and all the servers and disks.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
they
it
need
does-
massive, that would be a massive bill, and obviously, as we all know, RCC will always plead the fifth.
Could we not approve this as a
Exactly.
temporary measure because
And then
because
anything above
I
this-
didn't realise, because I wasn't told, I didn't realise what this was. I read that original thing as that, you know, we're just doing this because the tenant is doing X. And I didn't know what the thing is, so I think that is a separate matter there. Because also, if there's things going wrong around there, that's our building or the public's building, and maybe we should be looking, given that as a start, and tell them to put the proper settings on. Someone can do that when it's installed, and then we have a thing come back to council where we look at the security cameras in that area, because I can guarantee if something happens that camera that's got a partial shield on it because a resident didn't want to be seen on it, that it's going to be facing the wrong way. It happens so much, you know. So they can fix additional because they've done it at Bill's Bar area and for the Weatherspoons pub. There are 3 cameras.
I was going to say, what I'd like
We'll
to...
put in as many conditions and find everything I can before we do it. We've got children's play area there, we've got all kinds of things. We have to move with caution, but I haven't 100% want the tenant to be safe in that property. She's a good tenant. Let's move it forward.
Because she needs the Ring doorbell, but she also
I'd
needs
like to
the
move this
camera possibly
conversation on.
by her car.
Would somebody like to... First of all, I think we can run with the first proposal, item 4, with the maximum, with a caveat that's actually £400 we're going to be offering them as a maximum.
Yeah.
And the second element of that will be that the office investigates the possibility of getting additional public cameras installed in that area. And
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay. Good. Seconded, proposed, and all in favour, hands up please. Are you
I'm
voting?
going to abstain. I almost
Really? After all that? Okay.
for security.
Okay.
I have objections to it, the Amazon side of it.
I'm hoping
I know.
excuse us
It's
in
not-
maybe
I
a
don't think
5%.
we
That's
That's fair
fair.
enough.
Go.
Opposed, seconded,
Yeah,
carried. Thank you. So we're going through to 9.
Don't have to-
Continuing on to
Okay.
item 5.
Number 5. So
Oh, sorry,
no, not at all, Martha. That's all right. So number 5. Is everyone paying attention because it's chewy? Conditional on the tenant securing appropriate planning permission, important, agree that the tenant may construct at their own cost a structure, temporary or otherwise approved, to be used as an additional studio space on the land within the boundary of the premises.
Land within the boundary of the premises. Can you,
Does the premises include the car park?
is there,
So it's
No, there's a fence at
yeah.
the back we're talking
So
about.
within the site plan, which is I believe on, you can find it on.
I've
it'll be
seen
on
it
the block
before,
plan.
but is it behind so you can't see it from the park?
It's behind, yes. So it's
they've
essentially
got benches in there or something at the
yeah.
minute.
The building is essentially that shape, and they're looking to potentially put something in it.
I know that.
Is that,
It's a
can
garden.
we get a better description? Is that a garden?
That's a
Yeah,
garden.
it's a gravel garden with
They-
a
So the gravel garden area at the rear of the building, I think.
Yeah.
we're-
They
just so that we don't
fenced
allow
it
people
in
that
many
are-
years ago because the children set fire to the tree there.
Sounds
Um,
great.
So thanks for that.
okay.
Can I just add one caveat? We are looking at the possibility of redeveloping that site, and it could be within, and the tenant needs to be made, we need to be absolutely sure the tenant is well aware of our plans. And I know they are, but
Yeah.
let's just reinforce that with this element.
Yep, I concur.
And I had a message from somebody saying that what if the tenant, let's just say went, and it wasn't a very good structure. So could we ensure that if it's a temporary structure, that it's removed, put in the agreement that it's removed when they leave, like if a housing association comes, or if it's good. We need some clear idea of what they want to put in that space, because we don't want the costs of
We just want-
removing
we
it
want-
if it.
Exactly, so we just want to say that the tenant's responsible for removing it on
It
the
says
expiry of the
appropriate
lease.
planning permission, so presumably they have to come forward with their...
Yep,
Hopefully.
exactly. We'll be
Okay,
we'll have to go through a
hopefully.
due process.
So they do.
But it might fall in with the permitted development if it's only a couple of metres.
It might, yeah.
But it's still got to meet building.
Got to come here
Okay, so we just need to add into there the fact that they are responsible for removal.
Can we
if
say-
required.
Yeah.
Please,
If required. If
I
required.
believe
At the
that
end of the lease.
it's highly likely that that will be in our paperwork regards that lease
I'm sure,
anyway.
I'm sure.
However, yes, if you want to double down on that, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, so do we propose her with that amendment? Captured? Vote, please. All those in favour? God, we're galloping now. Only another. Yeah. Good. Thank you. So moving on to item.
Number 6 within that. Sorry, okay. Number 6, to permit the improvement of the flooring in the smaller of the studios at the tenant's cost to improve the surface, to improve its surface and reduce the likelihood of injury to those using the premises. And
Sorry.
and point A, should it be apparent that the improvement to the flooring will benefit the energy efficiency of the building, that the council will discuss the possibility to financially support an agreed proportion of said activity once the financial details are apparent.
We can discuss it.
Told you it's cheery.
Bring it back for a
Yeah,
grant at
yeah.
the correct time.
Yeah,
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 yeah, I'll second it.
yeah.
So yes, but when you want, if you want the cost, bring it back for a grant,
Yeah.
committed grant
Okay,
application at a
so
suitable time.
so approved.
In principle.
Okay, so point 6 is approved then. Shall we do 6 and then 6A then?
Yeah, 6A says bring it back when you've got.
Right.
Yeah.
So 6. Should we vote on 6 then?
Application then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
because we have 3K stuck by, don't we? So we can then work it out then.
Yeah, we've reduced our grant thing, so
So
we've got to be
3K.
cautious to. I don't know why we reduced.
So should we vote on 6?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, sorry, yes, I'm sorry. So can I have a proposal for 6, please?
You propose,
Sorry.
Sally Ann.
I propose, you seconded, and all in favour, hands up. And can I have a proposal for 6? A, subject to it coming back for a grant.
Yeah.
So the proposer, have you captured the proposer for that one?
No.
Okay, just hold your horses, we're going a bit fast.
I'll just
Yeah,
say
well,
that.
so grant
Okay.
is a separate one then?
The grant is 6A, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I missed that one, okay. Right, who's proposing?
Looks like it's Chris is proposing.
Yeah, why not?
Councillor Nix is proposing.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to put my name
Who's
in.
second?
Clark,
Seconded. Take your pick. There's
Mr.
two.
Clark's there.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
And
Pass.
voting. One. Good.
And you made it at 8:30.
No, we've got one more to do.
Come on.
We got
Point
one more to do.
17, last one. Well done. Okay.
You've got 1 minute.
Under
That was extended.
Now we've extended.
So, under appropriate professional electrical guidance and compliance with necessary regulations, which is likely part P, that the tenant may install hardwired electrical heaters as necessary throughout the premises.
There's no gas in the building, no.
No.
No gas, no. These are simply
So
electrical.
electricity is the only means.
Yes.
And with necessary regulations.
Do we know what happened to the old ones?
They're still there. I think.
Are they?
They broke.
There are some.
There's two modern
There are
ones.
some very dated, poor
Yes,
heaters in
there's
the.
two modern ones in the
We
main
paid for them out
and
of
the rest
money,
of the
so
room.
that's why they're poor.
B&Q special.
Yeah. So the yes.
Okay.
Is that at her cost? Because it doesn't actually sell at her cost.
I think it did it. Oh, I just assumed that.
Right, Simon. There you go.
May install hardwired electrical heaters. Yes, it should. Belts and braces at tenant's cost.
Tenant's
What does
cost.
hardwired mean, by the way?
As in not portable fan heaters.
Like your
And not
dodgy,
extensions
One's
trailing on
Like the
the floor.
ones in Victoria Hall.
Yeah.
like your dodgy ones.
Some actual ones that are mounted on a wall that have a socket dedicated
Yeah.
to them and are not going to burn the place
Not
down.
going to fall
yeah.
over.
Yeah.
They're safe.
Okay. Any more discussions on that point?
No.
I'm getting excited as we come to the climax of the meeting. So shall we have a proposer for that then, please? Councillor Clark and seconder. Take your pick. And the last vote of the night. And it's unanimous. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Next meeting is, when's the next meeting?
It's on there.
12th of March.